Hello. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of CAV HQ Live. I am your host, CAV Boss. We're going to talk a little bit about CAV if you're new to the channel. If not, then you know what we're here for. Give everybody a few minutes to show up, see how the night goes, and then we'll go from there. Hope everybody is having a good evening. I know I've had a pretty productive day, so that's always a big plus. Duh. All righty, ready. And make sure I've got I can ban somebody tonight. Got the ban hammer ready. Damn bots. Oh, like my new background? We got a little CAV fight tonight. A little action from one of our previous games down at Reaper Game Day. Ooh, I see them coming in. And make sure, you don't have to subscribe or anything like that, but at least click on the like button or whatever. Follow us. I guess that's the key thing. What's up, Ilmran? How are you tonight? I think you have to follow too to be able to chat. So if you don't follow, you can't put anything in the chat. Going okay. Well, that's better than not going okay, I would say. That would be my professional opinion. All right. Here we go. Coming in hot. Call the pickle. Oh. I'm trying to get ready for conventions today, among other things. All right. Hopefully next week I'll have some exciting news about a possible new YouTube influencer out there that has decided to help out. So we're going to, once we get a little more information on that, we'll let you know. So I'm kind of excited about that. Wait, can't spill the beans yet. But. Said, make sure, hit that follow button, bam, bam, bam. That way you know when we're getting on, you haven't already hit it. Isn't that what you're supposed to do on these channels? I know every YouTube video I watch is like 5 minutes into it or something like that. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Click this, click that. Clickety, clickety, click. Hi there, Tiger. How are you tonight? You're just in time. We're just getting ready to kick off the festivities. Doing better. God, everybody's like that pseudo. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. Borderlands 3 villains. Like, follow, and obey. I was on to play Borderlands. Both my boys played it and seemed to really enjoy it. Well, I did just get over having cancer. Well, hey, do you hear that noise? That's because there's no buzz. You've killed it. The buzz is dead. Yeah, but you don't have to be negative on the deal. Just be happy, excited. I don't know. I don't know what you are. I'll let you wallow in your mediocrity. Okay. I'm still trying to process that I did have it. Well, I'm trying to process a lot of things too. Wait till you're 55 years old. All right. So let us get the festivities kicked off and rocking and rolling. So tonight, I decided that I wanted to, this last weekend was our CAV day down at Reaper, the Reaper Game Store down in Denton, Texas. And we got the board set up, ready to go. Everything's out, and nobody showed up. So even our regulars, it was a dead day. I don't know if it was just because it's first of the year and everybody was busy, or we wore everybody out for the previous months, or Reaper had a big tournament going on Saturday with a card game or whatever. So the store was really, really crowded, and we were got stuck back in the back, and it is what it is. We got bumped by the Girl Scout cookies. I mean, how horrible is that? Bumped over the Girl Scout cookies. So we were kind of stuck back in the corner. So it could be people came in and didn't see us back there. So I don't know. But I always take stuff with me to work on if I have time, or as I'm, in the mornings and the evenings or whatever. So my New Year's resolution, and another box bites the dust. Yeah, okay. Cookies. Oh yeah, I didn't even buy any cookies. If the Girl Scout are gonna bump me, I ain't buying their cookies. All right, so it is what it is. We'll be CAV strong next month. So I even brought a scenario. I have it all set up, but oh well. So sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. It was a short train. So my New Year's resolution was to really pile in and get some of our product that's been kind of in a holding pattern, caught up, fixed. There's numerous things that's happened over the last year. But so anyway, I'm full bore. I am trying to bring in another artist to help get the JOR stuff done. That's all that's holding the JOR. We just don't have all the art for it. we can only do so much so fast, and so I'm trying to do that. But I am really, really piling on to the rules of engagement, the campaign book. Also the cards, the new initiative deck. We had it already, and then we were adding more cards, and I'm still tweaking it a little bit. We've been doing some more testing on it. There's a couple of things I'm not 100% happy about with the way that it's kind of working out in some scenarios. We've been using it at the Reaper Day CAV games too, and that showed me a couple of things that I think I would like to do a little different. So it's close, but so we're working on that and deal. But the rules of engagement, the campaign book. Now, I had a writer assigned to this that's known in the industry and has published and printed stuff before, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm not pointing fingers. It's probably as much my fault as anybody's fault. I kind of feel like, if you're an established writer, you're familiar with the genre. I've given you pages of detailed notes and outline. I shouldn't have to hold your hand across the finish line, but it is what it is. So I have taken it all over and trying to finish fleshing it out and go from there. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. I wanted to get a little feedback from folks as to what they're looking for in a campaign book. Make sure, see if my ideas jive up with your ideas, and kind of take it from there. So tonight's kind of an open session, for people to kind of give me an idea of what you're looking at it and see if it's something that I can look at again and adjust and make sure I'm on the right page with everybody. We do have, John, did you log into Twitch? I did. Well, sort of. I am. I'm logged in. I should be able to ban people. See, usually it lets me log into Twitch through the Streamlabs or whatever, but for whatever reason, I can't get it to do that. So I'm logged in on the browser in case I need to. In case somebody wasn't here that could do the ban hammer. No, James, you can't ban me. Maybe. So next month we are in Aurora, Colorado, right outside Denver, for Genghis Khan. We're getting everything ready for that show. The heck? So I'm looking forward to that. I went to book hotel rooms for that, and I'm all for. I know stuff goes, but they wanted like $350 a night for the hotel where they're at. And I'm like, F that. I ain't paying $350. We're there for 5 nights. It's almost $2,000 for a hotel room. They did that to me at Adepticon this year too. Normally we stay, it's just down the street, maybe a half a block, maybe a full block from where they have the convention at, and at the Embassy Suites. And I think we normally pay like $160, $180 a night, which to me is horrible enough, but it includes breakfast. They have a pretty good breakfast, so that's worth $15-20 a person today anyway. Same thing this year. Rooms are $300 a piece. And you're not even at the actual convention. You're a block down the street. It's not like everybody's hanging out. Excuse me. So again, we went to a different hotel. Another block further, there was a DoubleTree for $103 a night. So even cheaper than the deal. but just nuts. So that's my little bitch and moan about hotels. Oh God, I'm all good for 160. I mean that's those show that's pretty average, especially for your lower tier conventions. I mean, uh, ever since Gen Con went to Indianapolis, I mean we used to stay in Milwaukee. There was all kinds of cool places to stay at that you could. I know for a couple of years there was an Irish pub bar that was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks down from the convention center, but upstairs they had like 8 rooms that they rented out. I don't know if that's like a bed and breakfast or something, but I mean they were fixed up really nice, um, with their kind of their Irish theme or whatever. And I stayed there for 2 years, and the rooms were, I don't remember what they were. Of course, I mean, this was 20 plus years ago, so, everything was dirt cheap. But I mean, the first time I went to Gen Con in Milwaukee was eons ago. But we stayed at the Hotel Wisconsin. The first 2 years ago, we stayed at the Hotel Wisconsin. And the Hotel Wisconsin was like the hotels that you see back in the 20s movies. This was it had probably been there for 100 years. But the rooms were big. They were clean. They were, I mean, nice for what you got. I mean, it wasn't a dive or anything, but it certainly wasn't like staying at a Hilton. But we got a room for 2 of us for $50 a night. And what was really cool, and the rooms were huge. I mean, they were gargantuan. They had 2 bathrooms, and of course, at the time, younger and running around, so we would take one bathtub and fill it full of ice, and that was the beer. So all the beer bottles got stuck in the bathtub in the ice. And then, because what happened is the whole floor, everybody at night just left their doors open. So people are going back and forth to rooms. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons. They're playing BattleTech. They're playing whatever, and it's just a party floor. It's like being at the dorms or something, or at a frat at the convention house. And like I said, there was across the street was this the liquor store. And you would go over there and get beer, and I loved Milwaukee. I loved Gen Con. I cried when it went to Indianapolis because it just lost just the flavor of what made it a great convention. Indianapolis is nice. I've been there several times, but it's just, I don't know. But both it and Origins, both being downtown, and those hotel rooms are horrible. Origins last year, I think I paid $350 a night, and it didn't even include breakfast. So, there's 2 of us. I had to buy breakfast every morning. It was horrible. So it is. Life sucks. I know. Anyway, back to the campaign. Now that I've bitched and moaned, we're talking a little bit about the rules of engagement. So in my mind, what the campaign game is taking CAV to, I guess, I know, this is probably over exaggerating it, but to the nth level. This is for people that want to take their game to that next level with all the little stuff. That are willing to put the time and effort into establishing a unit, control the unit, come up with the game, all the good stuff that if that's what you're into. Almost kind of, it's not really role playing, but I guess it has some role playing elements to it. Generally, I would imagine that somebody might be not necessarily the game master, but should probably be in charge to make the. I mean, you can certainly do it by committee or whatever. But, I think somebody has to be somewhat in charge and keep things motivated and set up or whatever. So in my mind, the campaign system, it'll set up, it'll take the army, the force, the faction doctrines, or to the faction set up to the next level. But allow you to customize it how you want to go. And speaking of factions, so we've been part of the campaign book was intended to expand on the faction doctrines and set those up so that try to balance them out a little bit. I mean, obviously there's some in the core book that are not that great, that don't work. Certainly the Amethyl theirs sucks. As usual, all that stuff sounds cool at the moment, but afterwards you're like, could have maybe done this a little different. So this Saturday, as part of my sitting around kind of coming up with a deal, I think I've decided that the faction doctrines are going to be a little different. So what I think we're probably going to do is, instead of each faction having, so initially my idea that I originally outlined out for the rules of engagement is that each faction would have 5 doctrines, and each of the doctrines had 3 levels that were worth X number of points. So, 1, 2, and 3. When you started out and building your faction, and this would carry over into normal play as well, you would just have so many points to pick your doctrine. And you could advance in that doctrine. So you could, you'd start at level 1, and then in the campaign system, you could go to level 2, and you can go to level 3. So what I think is going to be a better way to do the doctrines is, almost kind of like a from a video game kind of thing, with how you build your characters in there. But I think what I want to do is I want to have a list of doctrines. I'm thinking maybe 20-ish, 24 different doctrines. But instead of them being specific to a faction, anybody can pick off of those doctrines. So if you meet the criteria for those doctrines, then you can choose any one of those. So rather than this be just a Ritter, and only Ritter get this or whatever, I think that kind of balances it out from the sense of everybody has all the same facts or doctrines to choose from. So nobody gets left out. If you choose one that doesn't tie it with his or whatever, that's on you, because you could have picked the same thing he had or whatever. But and then come up with a multiplier or something in there that if you stay true to your faction, you get this plus. Okay, so because when I talk about this doctrine tree thing now, it's for anybody, whether you're mercenaries or pirates or whatever. No. It's still going to be, the whole specifics on how you're going to get your doctrines, I'm still tweaking with. But I'm just saying, instead of Ritter and them have this particular doctrine, everybody will be able to pull that doctrine. So, and you can come up with whatever, like the 8 and E's have the +6 range to their ECM or whatever like that. Instead of that being that 8 on because of technology or whatever, it's you as a unit can have that doctrine. So, that particular unit has a better ECM and you can come up with whatever reasoning you want behind it. You can, you have a new system, or you captured this, or, something like that for the gravy to print it out. But ultimately, I want everybody to pick from the same doctrine list so that nobody can say, well, I did this, but you can't do this or whatever. And then fine tune that to give the factions their own individual twist, to make it why you would want to play this faction beyond just because I think they're cool. Now, I mean, I don't necessarily have anything against that because, one of the things I've always tried to do with CAV is I don't want there to be an uber faction, okay? I want anybody to be able to play any faction that they want to play, be competitive in tournaments, be competitive in play or whatever, and not get knocked down because I want to play these guys and they get to do this, but they don't get to do that. So it kind of vanillas out to a degree, some of that, but I think in the long run, and in my feeling, that makes the game more enjoyable and fun. It's not this bouncing around and everybody playing this certain faction because this is what you have to play to win. I don't want that. That's the reason why CAVs are kind of done. No, the doctrine affects the entire unit. We're not going to have individual doctrines for squads. The whole doctrine applies to your force, just like it does now. I'm just saying that everybody will be able to choose from a list of doctrines. When I talk about unit, I'm talking about the whole thing. Force group. Unit/force group. But as we design CAVs and things like that, everybody has their version of something. There's differences in some of the things and some of the ways they do things and stuff like that. But that goes back to that, my feeling on how the game is designed. Because I don't want a particular guy or a group to have, the 3 or 4 of the best CAVs in the game that nobody else can get. And then everybody wants to play that because that's the only way we can get those. I don't want that. That's when you pick a particular faction as far as the CAVs and stuff, it's more of a look. I think the ones that most of them have is cool. So I want to play those, but so-and-so can play his faction and still be competitive because he's got his version of those units, models in his force as well. So I think that's kind of the direction I'm going with the doctrines, is that there is a set list of doctrines that everybody can pick from, and then fine tune something still to make it okay to be a, why you might pick a faction. I mean, I'm not against the fact that you just pick it because you think those guys are cool. And it may end up just being that way. It may just be, rather than say, you've got to play this faction because you want to do this. You just think that they're cool, and the reward comes more from establishing your force group through their particular, the way they set up, like Rock have 4 models, da-da-da-da. Well, and yeah, I mean, Mercs get to choose obviously from everyone, um, uh, uh, but I think that there's a way in there to make those doctrines enjoyable for everybody, and it may be one of the things too that I thought about the doctrines that might work is tiers. So, doctrines are A, B, or C. And, mercs can only choose from C and B. The factions can pick from A, B, and C. Pirates only can pick from C. And that might be a way to do it. That way, as faction-wise, you have the whole list to choose from. But if you're mercs, you have a smaller list. If you're pirates, you have a different level that you can choose from. I'm kind of taking some notes too, so I don't have to come back and watch this. Yeah, I mean that would be an easy way to break it down into levels, or that the other thing that I thought about was maybe points. So everything has 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points, and you only get factions get X number of points, mercs get X number of points, or whatever. And that would allow, again, that kind of that choice pattern, but you could allow a faction force, if they would rather, instead of spending their 3 points on this really good one up here, maybe they would pick 3 smaller ones, or a middle one and a small one. And that might be something that would reward. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm kind of, that was an idea where it came up to, Elmer. And what, like I said, was everything is pointed 1, 2, or 3, and factions get 3 points, and they can buy 3 ones, or 1 and a 2, or just a 3, whereas mercs will get 2 points, pirates only get 1 point. Pirates and mercs are, from a non-background perspective, the same thing. Yes, I mean they're a creative deal, but they're differentiated in the game in the sense that they're not going to be as well supplied. They're not going to have as much choice, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll put that level in there of based on how well and access that you would have to certain equipment. It would, I think that by doing it this way, it would allow doctrines in tournaments. Yes. The main reason why doctrines are not allowed in tournaments right now is to stop everybody playing one faction. That they decide that this is the doctrine that they need to play in order to win a tournament, then everybody plays that force. And I don't want that. So by making it so that you have a large list that everybody can choose from, then at that point, I think that's fair. I think that levels it out. So anyway, so the doctrines is obviously going to be going to be expanded upon in the rules of engagement book. That's the reason why I didn't touch on them in the update, and we're going to go from there. So as far as the campaign book, you'll start out with an X number of, I probably am going to, it probably is going to revolve around threat value. I think that we designated in the deal, because there'll be a monetary system in the game as well, or in the campaign book. And I think that we decided that one threat value point was worth 100,000 credits, whatever you want to call it, whatever we'll end up calling them. Galtex, our little international money. I think that's what it was. I think one threat value equaled 100, or was it 10,000? Maybe it's 10,000. Galtex. I'll have to go back and look. But I don't see why you'd restrict pirates more than mercs in a tournament setting. Because I think that that's part of the flavor of the game. I don't think pirates and mercs are not the same. Mercs have a much larger, structured thing that they can choose and do, whereas pirates don't. So that's why. Just telling you that's going to happen. There are tiers. But that's not going to stop you from playing pirates in the game or in the deal. And that's part of it too, is they really don't have the same flexibility. Pirates are not going to have a wide, obviously in game mechanics or rules, they're going to be able to pick from anything that they want to pick from. I say that now. I mean, it may change on the deal, but they don't have the organization, they don't have the supply, they don't have the, they just are not going to have this as wide of selection. Pirates are not going to, the auction worlds or whatever and picking up stuff. They're living off of scrap. They're living off of models that they've had for 20 years. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's that big I don't think it's that big from a tournament standpoint. I think that from the tournament standpoint, I think the vast majority of people will probably play factions. I think that they'll want the more faction points to have the more that choice, and that's fine. I think that I don't have a problem with mercenaries or anything, but I think that having a tournament full of all different faction forces, to me, is what I would rather see than, I think, again, I think at that level, there's still enough randomness and choice there that it doesn't become everybody playing the same faction. It's maybe everybody are playing factions, but I don't know. And again, that's just kind of in my thought process of where I'm at right now. So anyway, so a threat value, it works out. I believe it's 10,000. So, you can take, 1,000, so basically 100 threat value is worth $1 million. So 1,000 threat values would be a $10 million credit cost. So everybody would start off with a squad. and you can play, the way that the campaign book is going to set up is you can either play as a organized unit. So you are you're the 3rd Rangers of the 5th Regiment or whatever of this Ritter unit. You can play that. You can play as a mercenary. You can play as a pirate. You can play as a security, a corp force. I think those are the main 4 that are in there, because that security corp force kind of, and then a pirate. Yeah, I think I already said that. And then each of those have to generate more threat value or supply points or whatever in order to continue and grow. So, and there's numerous ways that you can, it's like if you're playing a faction force, a faction unit. So, the corp forces pay homage to the first edition of the game. The main thing that you're going to see with the corporation forces, though, and stuff like that, is they may not be as wide in the factions. I think that you're going to see us really play up the corporations inside the Terran side of things. I think that the corporations are becoming a much bigger deal there. The other ones will have some extent to it, but not nearly the level that the Terrans will have corporation-wise. So if you're playing a faction force, even though you start off with a squad, obviously that squad is part of a bigger battalion or regiment or whatever. So as you advance in the campaign system, you're opening up your access to bigger and more units. So by the time, down the road, those guys were all already there, but you just didn't have access to them. Whereas mercenary can be the same way, or if it's your own personal mercenary construction, then you'll actually grow as a mercenary. You go from 1 squad to 2 squads to 3 squads, however you want to set your TOE up. Same thing with pirates. You're either part of a larger pirate force, you're part of the Black Rose or something, and so you get control of more forces as you grow, or you're actually growing from that squad and story. We're going to give you the bare bones to build your story from. That kind of goes back into where that nitty gritty comes from. We can't fill in every little crack and cranny. So, you'll have to build your story or whatever as you go. So in order to grow and become better, and everybody gets a certain amount of deals. So if you're a faction force, you have to have, and everybody has to have so many support points that they have each month, each whatever time period you want to use to grow, fix things or whatever. Now, a faction force obviously is part of a bigger organization and things like that. So they get those points allocated to them. So they get a certain number of points every month, no matter what. Now, those can be increased or decreased by the fact that it's a better equipped unit or lesser equipped unit. You're more experienced, not experienced, blah, 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 or whatever. But those points come in every month, no matter what. So, that allows you to grow and build and stuff without, and still have the action without worrying about where your next meal comes from. Mercenaries obviously are going to be coming from the standpoint of they have to get out and get contracts. They have to go out and be successful. They have to have fights and whatnot. And if they're not, then there's no support coming in and they can't keep their stuff maintained. They can't grow, whatever. So that's where that goes. Pirates, scavengers or whatever, they have to go out and do pirate things, scavenge things. If they're not out doing their stuff and building their points up, then same thing. So, and as you, like I said, the system will pick this up. And then corporate security forces will have kind of like the faction vibe to it, is they may not get as much from the sense of that they don't have a galactic state behind them, but so you as a unit have to generate support points every month. There's different ways of doing it based upon who you want to play. So as part of the campaign book, obviously there'll be a system to generate contracts for the mercenaries, missions for the faction forces, and for the pirates, little side stories about raiding and things like that. There is going to be a planet solar system creation system in there, so that you'll be able to generate worlds, planets, come up with different things that are in there. As part of that there'll be rules for alternate environments. If you're playing on a vacuum world, an ice world, things like that, there's little tweaks that we'll put in there, a little different. What's nice about that, and I intended back in the past, and that's right until I decided I was going to include it in that. The original rules that I wrote for CAV had all that already written into it. So there were vacuum rules, lava worlds, all these different things. So all that's already been written and played out and done. So we'll move that over into the campaign book, and that'll allow you to generate some different playing surfaces and take into account different things that, if you're playing on different worlds for different environmental rules, I guess is the best way to say what that is. Then obviously the campaign system has to generate a series of events, and you've kind of seen it in that little mini campaign guide that I put out. That there'll be, you'll be able to make choices. There's this flow chart that if you do this, it'll go here. If you do this, it'll go here. If you succeed, you can go here. If you don't, you go here. So that'll all be put in there to allow you to build from that and help you generate that story. There's rules in there for experience. Units have an overall experience level, but individual pilots, crews, or whatever will have experience levels that you can track as well. So as they progress and are successful, they will generate experience points, so they can go from there's rookie and green, or recruit, boot, whatever, green, regular, veteran, ace, or hero, or not hero, elite, and then ace. I have to go back and look at it. I don't have all the idea, but it'll allow you to build, individual guys that you can have so many points that you can grow that experience, and then as a whole, that will determine the experience level of your unit. So if you have a unit full of nothing but green troops, then you are a green unit. Over time, that will increase and go on. Obviously, you'll be able to choose what you want to use as far as model selection. Just trying to think of I had my outline and everything, and I ran off and left it at the house today. So I meant to get it at lunch and forgot it. So I would have that to go over more. But I'll be talking about it more on the forums and Discord. I know I've been kind of talking, I put a thing up about scenarios in the forums the other day. Also, one of the sculptors, Steiger, I don't remember what his Discord name is. I know he was there. He is back designing new stuff, and he asked today if I had a problem, or as he could share as he designed in the Discord channel, and I said no, go right ahead. So you'll be probably seeing him come up with some more stuff to get some feedback and everything on there. One of the things that I had talked with the sculptors about, we are going to soiree a little bit into the 3D file genre. Where we're going to touch with that is to make alternate weapons available for variants of various models. So, if you want to play the dictator with this or this guy with this or whatever, we are going to build those files so that you'll be able to download those 3D files if you have access to a 3D printer and print those parts out and add that to your model. And we will use the original model to base everything off. Right, but that's not what he goes by in Discord. I know I don't remember what his exact handle is, but he was posted in there the other day about getting a bunch of stuff in because he's in Germany. That particular sculptor is in Germany. Then if you do not have access to an STL printer, we will have the ability for you to order those parts, and we will print those parts out and send them as part of an order. So that's I think something kind of cool to look forward to allow people to build some different versions and everything. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen. It's something we've got to build up and do that. Luckily, a lot of files already exist for some of that stuff, and some of it will be just a matter of taking particular weapons that we already have and fixing them so that they adjust and go to another model. But like I said, you'll be able to either do the 3D files yourself, or you can have us print them up for you. It's not going to be, it's not going to be dirt cheap, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things, it'll be that expensive either. It's a little more labor intensive on our side because literally somebody will have to take that order, find the file, print it, clean it, package it up, and get it to you. We have brought in production level 3D printers that use a material that is very, very similar to the dual cast material that we use, and same flexibility. It's very durable. It's not, you hear all the people talk and bitch on different things about 3D printing. These are not 3D printers and material resin that you buy off of Amazon. These are not brittle. This is a special resin that was designed specifically for miniature figures. So it has some flexibility and give to it that is very equivalent to the dual cast and to the stuff that we did in the third Kickstarter. Is it totally indestructible? No. But I expect with reasonable care, I've dropped them. I drop them straight out of the printer sometimes and haven't had anything break or not. I've taken gun barrels and bent them over because it does have some rigidity to it. While it bends, you can bend it back, but it's just, again, if you keep bending it long enough, it's gonna get a pressure point and probably break. So that it is something you have to take care of. But the dual cast and the Kickstarter 3 stuff is the same way. There's no difference, I think, in the care that you have to take care of it. And that comes into a fact that, we have talked about with some of these upcoming models and stuff, some of the little things that are in them, we're going to start 3D printing. A case in point is on the new Mastodon. It's got 2 little rotary autocannons in it that are real small, little tiny barrels, and then the hip section is kind of a wide square, but it's very thin in the grand scope of things. There's really no reason to put it on mold. Literally, it's such a small piece that the time and effort and everything to put it on mold is just not worth it. It's like those rotary cannons. we literally on one build plate could probably put, I don't know, 300 of these rotary autocannons. I mean, they're just so small and the plate's big enough that, that each model gets two, that's 150 worth of models worth of rotary cannons. So, that's something that we can do that will help us with cost, keep costs down, because we don't have that extra mold. Every time we put another mold into that pile, it just increases the cost over the overall model. I know the Mastodon right now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 molds. And each mold adds additional costs both to the initial price and the overall unit price, because you got labor, you have material, molds wear out, so they're amortized over a certain run. So it's just something to keep in mind. I know that it's something that Reaper is playing with as well. They're to the point that they're actually doing full miniatures with theirs. And, they announced it last week on their Twitch stream on Thursday nights. And, there's a few people that got pretty negative over it. And it's one of those things that they haven't waited to see how it turns out before passing judgment. I know that there were so many naysayers with original bones and everything like that. So, obviously time has showed that those decisions were wise decisions, and everybody is, we're better off for it. Watt using the 3D printers instead of dual CAVs. I think that's just what I just explained. We're not using 3D printers for overall production, but we are going to be 3D printing some parts going forward. Yeah. I'll let you go back and rewatch it because I just spent 5 minutes talking about it. So we're just about done for tonight. So you'll be able to look at it. Anyway, so I've kind of bounced some stuff off of you. It'll be things that you can think about. Please, forums, Discord, share thoughts, ideas. I'll start putting out some more details as we go along. I've got a whole stack of notes and writing and stuff I'm trying to clean up and get to start filling in the outline and where the things that we're going forward with. So anyway, so that's where we're at. Other than that, I want to thank you for coming by and spending an hour with me tonight. We are still hard at work getting the new release out. It's going to be close to make it by the 31st. If we haven't made it by the 31st, it'll be out the first week of February. And then going forward, we should have monthly releases. One of the things that we're working on right now as we get this release ready is the next release as well. And we'll have some information about what models that'll be here just as soon as I can. We are in the process of redoing our photography area because we're going to do a little different way that we're going forward with the models. We are going to start listing our stuff on Amazon as well, so that gives us a little more access to people that may not be finding it, that they can order direct from us as opposed to some of the resellers that are on Amazon selling our product. But they require everything to be on a back, either transparent or a white background. And of course, none of our stuff is. So we've got to go in and fix that and adjust that. But that's just something that'll go along as we go forward. But as we do the new stuff, we'll make sure that they're correct. All right. Well, we've made it to 9 o'clock. Last chance. Any more questions? Any more? Hey, I've got this dying thing to go. I know that we're going to have the here probably by the end of the weekend. There'll be the updated update. I'm not going to give you an ETA. So I'm pushing as hard as I can to get it out as soon as I can. So I know that I have a date in my mind, and that I think that we can make, but it's you never know what else is going to come up. What was I changed my line of thought process. Oh, about the rules update. So we want MDF bridges at some point. I've got some sketches. I'm working on some sketches. I put the bridge up from our game last month. So I've got some. I've got 2 or 3 sketches that I needed to be functional, have more of a sci-fi look to it, and things like that. But anyway, so the updated update should be out by the end of the month or at the end of the week. I guess that kind of works out the same. Also, we will have a new set of quick start rules that take into account all the new information and stuff like that. That'll be going off to the printer because I want to have those all back before we go to our first convention next month to hand out. So we'll start having those available again. And other than that, that's all I know, Miss Lincoln. How was the show? All right, so good night. Thank you very much for being here, and I will catch you guys next week and on the forums and on Discord and Facebook and all that good stuff. So take care. Have a good night. Peace.